Beautiful people, again, we want to thank you for being part of the HR Uncensored, and we are coming in live. We are coming in strong, and as I mentioned, we will put on the spot some of the behaviors that are not professionals, some of the behaviors that we are seeing being exhibited by some quarters, and these behaviors need to be addressed. And if not on a better platform, then we will raise them here on HR Uncensored. And so I invite you on our episode today, and we are putting to sport those kind of individuals who end up thriving on what I call conspiracy theories. Now, in any organization, in any company, there are those few employees, okay, who will always collude with people within the organization that have influence, or they are in position of power, and these employees will end up being like they are their spies, they are their macho employees, they are their little spy warriors, and they'll end up forming conspiracies, and they'll end up coming up with theories, especially theories that are not realistic, but they will gang up, they'll form a story, and they'll end up pitching this story on one of the employees who is a target employee, either for a demotion or for a decrease in benefits, or for an exit, forced exit, or for a termination, or for whatever reason, just to make the life of that employee a living hell in that organization. So we are putting on the spot this kind of employees together with their gang or their leaders, and we are telling them on HR Uncensored that that kind of a culture, that kind of a practice needs to stop, and it needs to stop immediately. Why am I saying this? You will find that employees who end up battering, they will end up battering their bosses. They'll end up, these are the yes sir, yes ma'am kind of employees who will always want to be on the right books with their so-called leaders. They will end up doing anything for anything to maintain that status quo. And for this reason, they will give false narratives. They'll give false information about other employees so that they can be able to gain their mileage with their so-called leaders. And sometimes decisions are made on very innocent employees who cannot be able to defend themselves, or who do not have that latitude to fight against the system or the culture that has been already planted in that organization. These employees end up suffering for one way or the other because of the so-called conspiracy theories that have been created, manufactured, and these narratives have been peddled within the organization about an employee, and this employee ends up suffering for no good reason. So employees who think that they will stay in that organization forever by being the battering crew to their so-called leaders, your days are numbered. And one of these fine days, what you do to others will be done to you. Because for me, any employee who ends up suffering innocently as a result of the battering crew with their conspiracy theories and false narratives about any employee for whatever reason, remember, what goes around comes around, and your day will come. And that very same thing that you are doing to other employees, that very same thing will happen to you, if not in your current company. At one point in time in your life, it will come, it will circle, and in fact, it will circle in full force. Why? Because the innocent suffer, innocent employees who have absolutely no mistakes, or they have done absolutely nothing, but because they are not in favor with you, and you want to gain some form of mileage with your so-called buttering leaders, you end up causing that untold suffering to the employee. You end up causing that untold suffering to the people that end up being your victims, and you forget that one day, one time, you also will fall victim to the same. Now, it could be ranging from anything, either a false accusation about something in that company that will put this employee either at a risk of losing their job, or at a risk of losing their benefit, or at a risk of a demotion, or at a risk of it. These things happen, and I'm telling you, they are properly calculated. If you are not conscious about it, because you have never gone through it, you will never understand the suffering, the pain, the emotional trauma that you subject your fellow employees to as a result of your false narrative. So, today on HR Uncensored, we are putting on the spot this battering crew that end up peddling false rumors, false accusation about other employees in a company for no better reason, just to gain mileage with their so-called leaders. We are putting you on the spot today on HR Uncensored. That culture, that behavior must stop. And if you are one of them, then you need to drop that now. Why? Because if you think you are immune, then you're so much mistaken. Nobody is immune. Your day will come. And I hold the opinion it should not come the way you are making it come for others. So refrain from this kind of habits, refrain from this kind of culture, refrain from this kind of a practice where your only business is to butter your leaders. The yes sir, yes ma'am, yes, 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 and you give false information about other employees so that you can continue to gain mileage and traction with your so-called leaders. Your days are numbered, and we put you on the spot today on HR Uncensored. You have been spotted. You have been warned. Stop that uncultural, unethical, unprofessional behavior, because if you do not, then your day will come, and the very same serving spoon you're using to serve others, you will get it in double portion. This is HR Uncensored, coming to you live, fast, and without mincing our words, because this time round we will speak out both the good, the bad, and the ugly. From us, until the next episode, stay safe, stay calm.